All right. Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Mac time. You're with the MacPack, and we're coming to you on lockdown like everybody else in the world with this coronavirus going on. And we decided we're going to do the BDSM test. It's kind of an old test. It's been on the internet for a long time at bdsmtest.org. And you'll see this all over people's recon profiles and wherever. And it's just a fun little test to kind of gauge where you fit within the Dom and sub range of the BDSM community. And so we've all taken this test before, but we decided to take it again just to have some fun with it and see where we fit today. It's a good idea to kind of always reassess where you are, and you might learn a little bit of something about yourself, or even surprise yourself sometimes, right? You guys agree with that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Cool. So I'm not going to go through every single question on the test. I'm just going to read a few of them off that I thought were interesting, and then we'll discuss our full results with you guys. All right, so you guys ready? Let's start. So the first question I want to know how you guys answer is I'm willing to try anything once, even if I don't like it.
Is it strongly agree?
Yeah, it goes from absolutely agree to kind of agree to neutral, and then back the other way to absolutely disagree.
Okay. Strongly agree.
Yeah. Probably about the same.
Yeah. What'd you put, Thor? How would you answer that question?
I agree with limits.
Yeah, that's where I'm kind of at with that. There's limits to that. For me, I didn't put absolutely agree. I put agree.
Definitely depends on the person.
Depends on the person. There's got to be some trust and stuff involved. But once you start saying that, then that's limitations, right? So.
Well, unless you have hard limits, like absolutely no.
Right. That's true. Yeah. Good point. And that needs to be respected. So that's definitely something that's out there. Second question. So I like to be sexually degraded and humiliated by my partners sometimes.
I'm probably more in the neutral there because I like a little bit of degradation, but not to the point where I feel like I'm being called a piece of shit.
Okay. Yeah, cool. Parker?
Depends on the scene again. Depends on the person for me. So I think that I definitely like to be degraded, but it's the person doing it that makes it more hot for me. So I would say somewhat agree.
Somewhat agree. And Thor, what you got?
I strongly agree, but it's not really much opportunity for me to get that because I'm all the way on the East Coast. So
yeah, I get that. So this is my own personal question. What would be a good example of something that's humiliating or sexually degrading that you would want to try? Starting with Parker, what you got?
Being spit on, being pissed on. Those are probably my two top ones.
Okay. Thor?
man uses urinal.
Yeah. That's good. What you got, Venture?
Maybe when going down a little too deep and having a little bit come up and being forced to eat it and lap it up. I like that.
When sucking?
Yes.
Fellatio, regurgitation, let's give it a scientific name. All right, moving on. In an ideal relationship, I should have no hard limits. My life should belong to my partner, and they should decide what is good for me. Let's start with Thor.
That's a long ass topic, but my opinion, and I see from my own view of things, I say strongly disagree because I've seen so many subs. They meet that sir. They think they found their forever home. Just know they drop everything, the loved ones. They give up their financial bank accounts and everything to their sir or their dom, female or male, and comes to find out that dom had took everything out of their bank account. Don't want them anymore, and they just know they stuck in bumfuck nowhere, trying to figure out how they're gonna live. So I strongly disagree. Like, that's only needed in a slave protocol, but that's has to be discussed in depth, and there's stuff that has to be agreed upon prior to.
Okay, cool. Just so you know, like, you broke up a little bit for us, but since you're recording it anyway on the side, it's fine. Don't worry about it. So just so you guys know, if you break up, it's fine. We're good.
Okay.
How would you answer that, Parker?
I say probably somewhat disagree. Same reasons. It's not something you should do even in a permanent relationship. I think everything should be at least up to negotiation. We all have jobs. We all have families, so you can't do it 24/7. There has to be a little bit of give and take. So I would say strongly disagree.
Okay. And Venture?
So I strongly disagree as well, because reality has to set in at some point. You can't live in a fantasy for your whole life, so you have to, look at the needs of both people, and it can't be one person that dominates everything.
Yeah. See, this is why I know I have some strong, good puppies in my pack here. I definitely strongly disagree with this one as well, because at the end of the day, for one, from a dom's perspective, to take care of a slave 100% of the time, that's like being more than a parent almost, because even parents get a break from their kids here and there. So to have some grown ass men that you have to support financially, and I mean, it's just not an ideal thing for me anyway. I like to dom. I like to have you guys submit to me. I like to have an agreement to how that submission works across the long term, but to completely have you guys 100% dependent on me for every single thing, that's just doesn't sound like something I would want. So I'm gonna move on to the next one. Let's see. There's a good one. Talking back to one's dominant in a teasingly disobedient way should be part of the sub's fun. I'm definitely interested in how to choose to answer this one.
I think Venture should answer this one.
Venture, you answer this one first.
I more or less agree with that one, because at least with myself, I'm a very mischievous person, so I like to include a little bit of that bratty behavior in the dynamic.
Cool. Thor, what you say?
Oh no, I was thinking about a scenario. So, I was thinking about a previous brother that talked about this. So that's why I was like having a flashback. I 100% disagree, and reason being is because if it goes along with respect. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're my dom, I respect you. I not necessarily hold you on a pedestal, but I have a higher. You have I in my mind you have higher authority over me. So I'm trained in the military, like we're told to do, like follow last order given, like basically follow orders those appointed over me. So I'm gonna do what you want me to do. I'm not gonna talk back nor give not attitude, but like pushback. You know what I'm saying? So I strongly disagree.
Gotcha. And I've definitely have noticed and respected that from how you have interacted with me. How do you feel about that, Parker?
I think I'm kind of in the middle. I don't know if I do it for fun. I think I do it sometimes out of frustration. But I don't think I agree with the fun part.
Yeah, I would say for you, when you do it, if you aren't having fun, you're being a little bit of a brat, like in an actual, real way, which we have our moments where we deal with that, So it's, from you, the question though is, in a teasingly disobedient way, yeah, I guess it still applies. My stance on that is, take it how I give it. So if I'm coming to you in a jovial way, and you respond jovially or whatever, then I'm good with that. But if I say this is what needs to be done and I'm serious, right? I would not want you coming back at me with some sly retort. But the way that I've interacted with you, Venture, I don't feel like you've crossed over into a negative space on that. So if you are a mischievous person, I accept who you are. And if you do it within the confines that I don't find disrespectful. So there's a balance there for me.
Because I'll do it to a certain point, and when I recognize that the mood has changed, I will definitely scale it back.
Yeah.
There's definitely a tone you give.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, now it's time to be serious.
But one of the reasons why when I first met you, Thor, that was one of the things that I did pick up on that attracted me to having you as my sub, was because you do come from that position of being very submissive in the respectful sort of proper way to do it, and I like that. I'll do 2 more questions and we get to our results. It's no big deal when things I try turn out bad for me. It's part of the risk, and it's a necessary part of discovering what works and what doesn't. Let's start with you, Parker.
Yeah, my motto is I'll try anything twice because I may not have done it right the first time. So I strongly agree with that one.
Thor?
I think failure's not a bad thing.
So unless it's not on my hard limits, then yes, I strongly agree. But like, if it's like on hard limits, like we're not even gonna try to attempt to do no.
Yeah, fair enough. What you got, Mitchell?
I would probably agree with it because making mistakes is part of the whole kink process in BDSM life, but it's also like part of my submissive nature to submit myself to try new things, so that's where I think that fits in.
I answered that question as neutral, but I think I meant it in the same way you guys mean it, and that, as long as whatever boundaries that are in place are respected, I'm good with it. That's kind of how I took that. I think we all know the answers to this one for y'all, but I'll just put it out there anyway, and maybe you guys can talk a little bit more about it. But I enjoy playing or acting like a pet animal, dog, cat, pony, etc. Given that this is a human puppy pack, I think we all know it. We all answered yes to that. But I think what I want to say, give you guys an opportunity to do is talk a little bit more about that from your own perspective, and would there be any other type of animal that you guys would be interested in, embodying? So I'll start with you again, Parker.
Oh, definitely. I've been into puppy play for 20 years now, so definitely on the pup side. For me, it started off as a degradation thing, more as being a dog, being in a cage, eating out of a bowl. But as the years went by, my personality, I don't know if my personality was always pup-like or if it just started to merge together with Parker, my pup side. But I feel like my personality is also very pup-like, so I think it's very much me as a person, plus also what I like to do for play. As far as the other kinds of pet play I want to get into, horse play, definitely. Equine play is something at the top of my list. Also, ox or boar or something like that, some sort of big, beefy animal is another one I would like to maybe do. If I ever were to get into furries, that probably an ox or something like that would be something I would embody.
You became the wet dream of all kinds of things. Venture, what you got on that?
The only exposure to kind of pet play that I've had has been within the last maybe, let's say, 3 years, and it's primarily pup play. I kind of got into it because I had a couple friends that I had started to make that were kind of showing me what it was like. I didn't really know what to expect, so the first thing I did was buy a pup hood for Mr. S just to kind of experience what, if anything, that kind of could get me into it a little bit. So I'm still kind of discovering what it means to, to engage in pup play and pet play as a whole, but I think that's mainly my experience with it. As far as like other kind of pet play, I think at this time I don't have enough say to whether I really would want to explore it.
We just have to try you through all kinds of things to figure out which ones you might like. That's no problem.
I think you have a little bit of a kitty side, just a little bit.
What do you got, Thor?
Oh, I already know I'm a pup. It's just I already know that you can treat like a pet. due to, well, I got into pup play due to my twin brother and plus also military. So following commands was like just, I already know how to do it because I've been doing it for 6 years now. So it came natural to me. And also hearing from people like, oh, you're a natural pup and everything. Like, oh, okay, cool. So jumped into it and never looked back ever since. Things I'm willing to try is more of the furry community than anything else is wolf. So
there you go.
being that I have a nickname called Canine and plus the military, so I love the whole tactical thing. So
Yeah, I can see that. That would be hot. That would be hot. I don't see myself as a pup. I'm not a pup. That makes me the human in the pack, the handler, the master, the owner. But when it comes to sex, I do feel a bit animal. I get into moments where I can be pretty animalistic, but the way I would describe myself is either as a bull or a warthog. Those are the two that I kind of just mostly in terms of actual fucking, actually, like penetrative sex. See, I know a scientific term for it. That's kind of where I would say, but I don't know if I would take it to a degree of actually going furry with it or otherwise bringing it into physical existence. But it's there mentally in a way when I'm having sex with dogs, especially when we get more on the aggressive side. You guys agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
All right, so those are the last two questions that I was going to ask from the group. I want to get into our answers now, like to our results. And so the way the results are tallied is the quiz will rank you amongst certain terms and give you a percentage of where it believes you fall on that term. So we're going to start. We're going to go by listing down each of the terms as they appeared on my test. And then I'll ask you guys, to tell me what was your score on it. So
Very much the reverse order.
Very much the reverse order. Yeah, you guys you're gonna see us backwards. Passing in light. Yeah, that's a good one. So the first term that we get scored on, or that they gave me, was dominant. And let's define what dominant means. So, Pup has... Parker, do you have your paper? Or?
Yeah, so I had dominant as an umbrella generic term for a person who has authority in a power exchange relationship.
All right, yeah, that's a perfect definition. I scored 100% dominant. Okay, and then for the rest of these, we're just going to go in this circle, starting with Thor, then Venture, then Parker. So, Thor, Venture, Parker, that's the order. What you got, Thor?
for dominant,
Yeah.
55%.
55? Are you surprised by that?
Yes.
We're surprised over here in this corner, so yeah. We're like,
To be honest, I'm not that surprised by that. I see you having that towards other people. What you got, Venture?
So mine resulted in 1%. I would pretty much agree with that because that 1% does come out every now and then, but it takes just the right occasion for it to come out.
Okay. All right. I would agree with that. What you got, Parker?
1%. Same thing. It does come out, but the stars have to align. Mercury has to be in retrograde.
I think I've seen you guys dom more than 1% of the time of your experiences, though. But maybe what you
I think
guys-
it's I think
necessity.
we can do it.
Yeah.
It's whether it's a part of us or not. It's a different story.
All right, the next term, primal or hunter. And the definition of primal, according to the test, is primals are mainly focused on their natural instincts and they enjoy letting their inner animal out during sex. The key part for primals play is the participants show their raw emotional sexual feelings during play. All of the labels, rules, protocols go out the window, and the prey can become a snarling, growling, clawing animal hell-bent on getting away from its predator. Hunters typically match well with primal preys. So I got 99% primal or hunter there, and I think that fits. Based on what I just said about the warthog bullshit, or bull and comma shit. What you got, Thor?
We're only talking about the hunter, right?
Primal/hunter, yeah.
59%. 59%.
Wow.
Are you surprised by that one too?
Yes.
What you got, Adventure?
So mine was 4%. I would more or less agree with that, just like the dominant. So mine kind of feeds off of the other person that I'm playing with. So when they start to, let out their growls, like if I like getting bitten sometimes, and sometimes I'll respond with that with my growls of my own.
Parker?
Mine was 11%. So I think that's probably about right.
I think
Mine actually might be a little low for that because I actually like to tug a war when I get primal.
Yeah.
So I like to flip. If I'm in a primal mood, I'll flip back and forth. I think so. I think 11's maybe a little low.
I think that's definitely low for you because when we're playing, you respond back. You're not necessarily doing what you're not necessarily being anti-submissive or whatever, but you definitely get into an animalistic state where you're bucking and you're So anyway. All right, next term is rigor. Did you define that one?
I don't think I have that on my list.
So according to the test, this definition of rigor: riggers like to tie up and restrain their partners using rope and or other attributes, chains, cuffs, spreader bars, etc. Whether for sexual enhancement, for art, or just for fun, they enjoy having their partners completely at their mercy. Riggers typically match well with rope bunnies. I got 96% rigor, which I think is accurate for me. Dora, what did you get?
98%.
98% wrong. There you go.
It doesn't surprise me.
That's it.
So I ended up with 33%. I would say I'm not even in the slightest experienced at it, but I have tried, at least on occasion, maybe once or twice. Whether that's like trying to do mummification or just having like a spontaneous session. If I'm trying to like tie up Parker or potentially Thor.
Right. Yeah. Okay. What you got, Parker?
22%, which I think that was a little low for me too. I feel like I don't have a lot of experience with it, but for me, I like the Shibari. Is that right? Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Shibari. I think I would really enjoy getting into that as a top, just because I like the artistic expression behind it. So even though I don't have experience, I think that's something I'd like to get into at some point.
Makes a lot of sense. All right, let's move on to the next one. The next term is master or mistress. And master, Parker has that defined as masters receive complete control over the life of their slaves and all responsibilities that come with it. They go a step further than dominance in the sense that their power exchange is present 24/7 and in all aspects of their life, except for negotiated exceptions such as during their office jobs. Their primary focus is to create a stable and safe environment for their slaves to allow optimal servitude. I agree with that definition, and I got 95% master and mistress. Master. I agree with that. I mean, I call myself Master Mac. That was a term that came up when I first got into this because of my interest in delivering pain with and owning puppies. Those two things to me fall on the master side of things, and that's where I get that from. The true master that is the sadist is still a thing in progress because I'm still learning Seagull Tail, and I don't have that much space in my place to really get into impact play the way I want to. So I go heavier into the puppy ownership realm of the sort of the master coin, and I think with my pups I do have a 24/7 dom relationship with you, but there are obviously things like work and things of that nature that I understand come first, and I want those things to come first. And so yeah, I think that applies to me. What'd you get, Thor?
I got 17%. Reason being, I thought I was correct because master/mistress is too much work. You know what I'm saying? I already do enough as it is, supervising at work. So, I know you're gonna ask them later in the questions the correct term that fits me, because I take the 17% as more of a mentorship type thing going on, where I'm not directly like, yeah, I own you, bitch. No, not like that. But like just more of a, this is how you do things, this is the correct way. Just teaching them basically mentorship.
Yes.
Being in a scene, like being a master in a scene instead of 24/7. Do you think that fits you better?
Yes.
Yeah. Guiding someone through like the knowledge that you have, like teaching someone when they want to experience it. Yeah, I definitely do feel like I got you, bitch. So that's why I said for me, yeah.
That's why for me, it's like, I own you for this time period. That's about it. This is all. I own you for this time period. That's it.
What you got, Venture?
So mine was, I'd say pretty spot on, 0%. In my real life, I may have that kind of experience in my job, but in everything else, I like to be completely submissive.
Yep. Parker?
Same thing, 0%. And I think that's spot on as well.
Not surprised there, but I think those are true. Next term, age player. Age player, did you define that? You did not. All right. Yeah. So the quiz defines age player as: age players like to play with age as part of their kink. They typically take on much younger role or older age than they actually are, or prefer playing with a partner that does so. Attributes and behavior changes such as pacifiers, coloring books, speaking in more childlike language, etc., are commonly paired with this to enrich the context and make it more appropriate for the played age. Age players typically match well with other age players. I got 94% age player. I think I agree with that. For one, coming from a daddy role, especially when I was younger, it's less much of an issue these days because I'm getting up there. But when I was younger, playing the daddy meant moving myself into an older headspace to a degree, just so I can be there. And I think there's a degree of that when I play with Parker from that position, because our actual ages are reversed, where he's a bit slightly older than I am. But when I'm as I see myself through him, I feel like he's my son. So, there's definitely like a mental age playing thing going on there with that. And then of course, when I do age play with Thor as well, and that definitely triggers that daddy side. So yeah, 94% fits. What you get on that Thor?
100%. Being, I do age play. I do wear diapers and stuff like that in that regards. Though I have yet to officially experience like true, like not true, but like a scene where I'm actually regressing my age. I know I want to, just not enough opportunities. But I do also like doing the reverse too. So being a like babysitter or temporary daddy for somebody. So it's kind of cool.
Okay. Cool. Have you experienced being on that side of the equation?
Oh, being somebody's daddy?
Babysitter or daddy, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Good. We'll talk about that. We'll get some details on that later. That wasn't the corona. It's just a cough. What you got, Vincent?
So mine was 11%, and I probably contribute that to just, I don't know, I would call it the middle-age mind, or middle child mentality. Like, I've never really had to be the older brother or the younger brother, so I have no real interest in it at the moment.
Yeah. Parker?
Mine was 82%. I kind of wish I had an older one of these. I should have looked this up because I've taken this a couple of times, but I think this is going up over the years, especially since Thor's during the relationship. It's definitely started going up. more from the Big Brother side. That part's definitely something that I used to not have any interest in, and over the last couple of years, it's gone up. So, but I also, again, like it from the younger side as well. My little age is probably like 10 or 12, so it's a little older than most littles are. So, pre-teen is my little side.
You fall more of the middle age group, more of the middles.
Middles? Is that what they call them?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
There's littles, middles, and bigs.
Well, you just taught me something. I knew about littles. I didn't know there were middles and
That's what
bigs.
this podcast is all about.
That's what it's about.
We all learn. Yeah. We need to put the more you know thing here.
Okay, that's 200 points for you, Thor. You taught Daddy something. You taught that. Although that should have been obvious, but okay, but good. By the way, you and I haven't really done age play in a couple of years, Parker. We need to get back into that because the other day when you wore a diaper, it triggered all of that. I was like, oh yeah, that's okay. Let's get back into that.
I had a coronavirus meltdown. I was like, okay, I'm getting padded up for the day. So.
The next term, and I'm gonna speed it up a little bit here. So degrader, okay? And the degrader is defined as degraders like to degrade and humiliate their play partners, either by acting upon them in a degrading way or by forcing them to do things they consider degrading. Degraders typically match well with degrade ease. I got 92% degrader. So what you got, Thor?
61%.
What's with that smile? Man? You got that mischievousness going on.
Yeah.
That, like you about to be evil.
No, it's just I say it more for my leather gear versus my rubber gear. I do feel that side come out, especially when I wear my military boots and everything. I can see the 61% degrader.
Okay. All right. What you got, Venture?
So for degrader, I got 1%. I would pretty much agree with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I got 1% also.
Voyeur. And voyeur, I think, is one of those kind of obvious ones. But all right. So voyeurs enjoy watching the nakedness or sexual activity of other people. Definitions vary with respect to whether those being watched should be aware of this or not. Voyeurs typically match well with exhibitionists. And so for voyeur, I got 86%, which I think that fits me definitely more than exhibitionist, for sure. I'm more of a voyeur than an exhibitionist.
Except on videos.
Except the fact that I have videos out there, but yeah, we won't talk about that on YouTube. Thor, what you get?
Are we talking about both, or are we just talking about one?
For me, it's voyeur. For you, it might be exhibitionist. Which one do you have?
So I have both, but like.
Oh, I have both too. Yeah,
So voyeur is 52, whereas my exhibitionist is 56. So 52 depends on where I'm at, because I don't want to get locked up. No.
Right.
No.
Right.
And an exhibitionist is just, of course, there's video proof, and then there was blackout, and then multiple, a lot of things. So.
Yeah, somewhere around here, please. We'll leave that one for the imaginations. By the way, so you got say your numbers again. So
voyeur was 52, whereas exhibitionist was 56. So I'm more of an exhibitionist than a voyeur person, because voyeur, I like watching people do what they do, but it's got to be in the correct setting, and so I can make sure that I'm not getting locked up. No.
Got you. So just to recap what mine was, I got 86 on voyeur and 69 exhibitionist. And I think that 69 seems high for me, but I think it comes down to the fact I do like the idea of being watched, but not in a setting where sex is expected, right? Like at a sex party, I'm not really into that. But like in an alley where not really, no one expects sex to be happening, and then somebody kind of sees me there, that I kind of like. So that's where that comes in for me. All right, so we got you, Thor. Let's go on to Venture for both voyeur and exhibitionist.
So for voyeur, I got 55%, and then for exhibitionist, I got 59%. The voyeur, like what's been said, you know, I keep things in the realm of legalness. So I like watching from afar, not necessarily right up in the situation. For exhibitionist, I would agree with the 59% because there are rare occasions, sometimes in bars or dark areas, where I can let myself, you know, just let go and kind of just try to put on a show.
And Parker.
So my my voyeur is 60%, and my exhibitionist is 37%. So I'm apparently the least exhibitionist out of us. And I think that's probably right for me. It takes us like a really special scene for me to be an exhibitionist and feel very safe. So it has to be a legal environment like a bar or a play space. And then I also have to be in a pretty submissive mood as well, or in a good submissive headspace. And then I feel okay about it. But normal every day, no, I don't want it at all.
Next term, daddy or mommy. Daddy or mommy. Daddies take on a caretaker role in a relationship, being a guide as much as a dominant. Daddies dominate their little treasure submissive with an iron fist in a velvet glove, much cuddly and affectionate on the outside while being as sturdy and hard on the inside as other dominants. Using subtle psychological mechanisms rather than brute power, they nurture their littles into obedience. I mostly agree with that. I think there is a place for daddies to be disciplinarians as well, so where they can be stricter and a little harder, but that's typically coming from a place of needing to punish or to correct a behavior that needs to be addressed. Definitely. All right, so I got 86% daddy, and I think that's fair. I'm a very affectionate person, and I think the term definitely fits me and how I approach my relationship with you. Matter of fact, I have all of you guys call me daddy most of the time. So
I'm actually surprised it's not higher.
yeah. So yeah, I think it fits. Thor, what'd you get?
67%.
Yeah.
So it falls.
Yeah. I said based on what we're finding out, it fits.
So like I was talking about earlier, is falls in the realm of my age play area, because I can be both a little and I can be a babysitter, caretaker, or daddy to somebody. You know, I can give the same sort of treatment I would want to the person, and that's what normally happens in the age play community, because mostly some littles graduate to, yeah, I'm a daddy now. Ooh, I get to dap you up and treat you basically like you're my child. I have my moments where I want to be treated like a child, and I have my moments where I want to demean or degrade and stuff like that. Yeah.
Got you. Venture.
So my daddy mommy percentage was 1%. Not really much to say there. I don't see myself in that role. I know growing a beard kind of gives some people that perception sometimes, but no.
And Parker.
Love the beard. Mine is 45%, so I feel like that's probably also moving up in the list. I feel.
Yeah.
I think that's higher than it was a few years ago.
All right, so owner, I got 84% on owner, and owner is defined as, we're defining owner as owns or takes responsibility over a pet on a 24/7 basis. Sexuality is not necessarily involved, often provides an animal role play attributes, puts pet in a cage, etc. But that doesn't necessarily have to be a part of it. It fits for me. I have a pack. I consider myself your owner. You guys know that. So it fits. What you got, Thor?
41%.
41. All right. Answer.
2%.
And 0% for me.
No potential.
Okay. Next term is sadist. Did you not define that one? All right. So, sadist. That's fine. We'll use the. I mean, I think everybody knows what a sadist is. But according to the test, sadists enjoy inflicting certain types of pain on their partners, usually in a sexual text. Sadists typically match well with masochists. So for sadist, I got 51%. And
51?
5-1. That's what it says. It's 5-1%.
What?
I know it's higher than that. I feel that's one of the first results on the test that I think I'm a little bit like, I'm surprised that it came to that.
Right at all.
Yeah, I get up. There was one question on there that answered, "Do you like to see the bruises on the person?" On the Parker. On the Parker. Do you like to see the bruises? And I answered neutral on that, and I think that might have lowered my score a lot. And the reason why I answered neutral, I know that a lot of sadists get off on the marks afterwards. They are a nice reminder. But I don't get off on them in any sexual way. They remind me of the scene that I got off on. I get off in the scene. I get off on putting them there in the first place. I get off on seeing. What I really like, ultimately, from myself when I'm inflicting pain, is I like to see them continue to offer themselves in spite of the fact that they're having the pain. So when they take what I'm giving, and even though by the reaction, we know that there's pain or whatever. They still, reset and are ready for the next one. That's where I get off on it. That's the part where I'm getting into it on. And so I answered the questions in that way. Might have lowered my score because of that, but anyway. What did you get for that, Thor?
62%.
He got higher than me. What? 62%.
Because I like leaving. Well, I never really left marks on anybody, but if I were to leave marks on somebody, as long as it's not above neck, as long as they can go to work and not get asked questions like, "What was you doing last night?" I'm fine. You know what I'm saying? It was a reminder for me, and then plus, it falls in line to the whole. I like giving pain as much as I like taking it. So yeah.
Yeah.
Venture.
So my sadist was 42%. This probably comes out in two scenarios. One is when I'm giving nipple play back to someone. I definitely like to bite a little bit harder than I like getting bitten myself. I do on occasion like to leave marks, and then the biggest part where it probably comes out into play is with breath play or breath control. I enjoy it myself. It's one of my top things to partake in, but when I and doling it out on someone else, I sometimes like to push it to the point of panic.
Yeah.
I can't believe I scored higher than you on this, 62%.
I think
We're twins.
I think it came down to how I answered that question about seeing the marks.
Yeah. Because I think I answered. Strongly agree on that one.
Yeah, I like to put them there, and I like to see them in the moment. But afterwards, when I see them, it reminds me of the scene, but I don't particularly get off in any particular way on just the marks themselves. So I don't know. Maybe I overanalyzed that question, but nonetheless, we're gonna move on. And then after this question, we'll flip the order and how they're answered. But for now, we'll answer it the same way. So experimentalist, and an experimentalist is defined by the test as experimentalists want to have tried it all. An open mind and an insatiable curiosity are their key features, and they will rarely form an opinion before they have gathered first-hand experience. They often have plenty of fantasies and will actively pursue to try them out. Experimentalists typically match well with other experimentalists. So for experimentalist, I got 50%. I think that's fair. What'd you get, Thor?
100%.
Oh, there you go.
As long as I'm like following as long as if I am or if the person who's in control of the scene is following my hard limits and following the do's and don'ts, I'm good. Like, I'm good.
Okay, gotcha. Venture.
So my experimentalist was 58%. That 50% is definitely like most of the time I'm willing to try things, like at least half the time. That 8% is, yeah.
Yeah, gotcha. And Parker.
98%. Yeah, I'll try just about anything. So, and want to still try more.
The next one on the next term is vanilla. And the quiz defines vanilla as vanilla people enjoy regular standard sex and relationship models. Nothing wrong with that as long as you're having fun. Vanillas typically match well with other vanillas. So I got 47% vanilla on that. And I don't know, I guess that's a little bit higher than I would have expected, but I accept it. What you got?
I would agree. 45 is probably about right for you.
Okay.
You have your vanilla times.
Wow.
Mine's 25%, and I think that pretty much fits.
Okay.
Mine was 53% vanilla, and that's probably generally on the line or on the nose because I'm still exploring in terms of what I really like and what I want to get into.
Thor.
Mine's 42%. It's correct because there'll be some people that I don't want to engage and play with. I just want like, okay, I'm done. Okay, we're good. All right, bye. See you later. All right, it's nice. My Uber's outside. I see you later.
That's actually good. That's a good point.
There's been people that I was like, yeah, I just want to do with them and just call it a day.
Bang, bang, get out. Yeah, I get that.
It's correct. So I have my moments where, yeah, let's get down and dirty and play, but like, okay, we're just over here for an appointment. I'm good. All right, bye.
Right. He wants to. Anyway. Anyway, moving on.
An inside act joke.
Never mind. Brat Tamer is the next term. Brat Tamer. Brat Tamers are, in essence, dominants who enjoy handling bratty submissives. They find obedience in a form of playfulness from the outside of the submissive rather than a form of rudeness. They take no offense to it, but will still teach the sub a well-deserved lesson because, of course, that is why the bratty sub shows such behavior in the first place. Brat Tamers are typically matched well with brats. So this kind of goes well with the question. One of the questions we chose to answer from the test. I got 37% brat tamer, and I think that matches with my answer from what we talked about earlier. What do you think about? What'd you get?
So do you want to do Brad also?
Yeah, you can do brat also. So I got for brat. I don't even think it shows up on my list here. It's 2% brat. I got 2% brat.
You be a Brad at Saddam?
I don't know where that came from. It's 2% brat.
So Brat Tamer's 5% for me, which is probably about right. I don't think I have a lot of patience for brats. And 37% for Brad.
Did you just pat Venture on the leg when you said that?
I know his answer, so.
Oh, gotcha. All right, Venture, what you got?
So I am Brat Tamer 2% and Brat 97%. That definitely defines who I am. I'm willing to dish it out, but not so much as taking shit from other people.
And Thor, what you got?
Yeah.
So for Brat Tamer, it was 42, and for Brat, it's 40%. 42 for the Brat Tamer. There's only so much I can take now. I'm just walking away like, okay, yeah. Where's your dom? I can't do this anymore. Yeah. Take him back. I can't do this. It's like with since I'm an uncle, I'm glad I can't have children because I'm like, no, here's your child. Bye. And then like for Brat, I guess I can say I have my moments, but 40% is too high for me.
I would say yes.
I don't agree. You're 40% on the brat. I don't agree with that. that contradicts exactly that other question about playfulness with your dom. That completely contradicts your answer on that. So I agree with your other answer, not with what this score says here. So, I guess it depends on how you interpret the questions on some of these, and then choose your answer based off of that. So moving on, non-monogamist. A non-monogamist is obviously someone who does not see sexuality as necessarily a one-on-one thing. So whether this means they will have several relationships or just see other people outside of their relationships or even have more exquisite constructions, depends entirely on the person and the situations, but they all have one thing in common. Their sexuality is more than just one between them and one fixed partner. Non-monogamists typically match well with several other non-monogamists. Non-monogamist, I got 26%, which I think is way low.
Wow.
Like I'm the head of a pack.
Yeah.
How more non-monogamous can you be? So maybe I answered something off there. I don't know, but yeah, I don't agree with that at all. I would say I'm like 100% non-monogamous. I'm completely.
You can be a non-monogamous person, but you can have a closed non-monogamous relationship. If you get what I'm saying, sir.
No, that's close. I'm not closed at all.
It might also be like in your selective nature of who you play with.
Maybe, but I don't think the questions were geared that way. So I don't know, but I completely disagree with what I got on that part of the score. I think that's proof in the making of the lifestyle I live. I'm 100%, yeah, 100% non-monogamous. Parker, I did lead a long life as a monogamist, so I've had monogamy as part of my life for a while, but I'm fully on the non-monogamy side. Parker, what'd you get?
100%.
Right, that's what mine should have been. Venture.
Mine was 58%. Definitely a non-monogamous within the pack, but as far as like exploring outside, I'm still taking baby steps to get to that. Like I've made connections with a few people, but for the most part, most of my non-monogamous activities have been within the pack.
Or
100%.
that makes sense. Boy or girl, and I think in this term, the term boy means, we have it defined as boys like to follow. Some like to give control away to their parents. Some like to have it forcibly taken from them. Some are submissive only in the bedroom, and others are submissive throughout their daily life as well, usually with limitations. Unlike the bottom roles, receiving pain, bondage, and degradation, being submissive is more about who decides what happens and takes the responsibility that comes with it than about the content of what happens. I agree with that. But I completely disagree with my score on this one again. My score is 26% boy. Yeah, I need to go back and examine which questions I answered to see like where that came from. I don't agree with that. But that's what I got on the quiz that I'm being. I'm going to present my 100% honest with score. So that's what I got. Parker, what was yours?
Mine was 95%, which I actually am surprised it's not a little higher than that. 'Cause I've called myself a boy for as long as I can remember. So, but 95 is still high.
Venture, what did you get for that?
So I received 63% for a boy. It's probably reflective of my life inside and outside of the pack. Outside of the pack, in my daily life, at work, like I have a leading role, but for the most part, I like being told what to do or receiving direction.
I had got 100%. Dude, I think it was mostly due to the nature of my job. Even though I'm a supervisor, I still had to follow other people's orders. So it's like the military, like, oh, here's enough rope. Play with this toy, and give you a false perception of things. So I'm normally submissive in both my job and with y'all, but I consider it's different from when I'm not with y'all. It's different.
That makes sense. Primal or prey. So the primal from the test is defined. The primals are mainly focused on their natural instincts and they enjoy letting the inner animal out during sex. The key part for primal play is the participants show their raw, emotional, sexual feelings during play. All of the labels, roles, and protocols go out the window, and the prey can become a snarling, growling, clawing animal hell-bent on getting away from its predator. Preys typically match well with primal hunters. So I'd already given my primal hunter score before. That was 99%. My prey score is 7%, which again seems a little high, but I'll let it ride. I'll let it ride. Parker, remind us of your primal score and then tell me your prey score.
My hunter score was 11. My prey score is 100%. And I think that's true.
So my primal hunter score was 4%, to reiterate, and my primal prey is 80%, and pretty spot on.
Yeah. Lower.
My hunter was 59% and my prey was 100 due to I say it's agrees 100% because especially when it comes to bears or like big muscle dudes like, oh no, don't take me away.
Oh no! Yeah.
So I have my weaknesses, so I'm like oh look at that muscle bear over there, like oh no, like let me just oh no, my shirt's off or my ass is hanging out a little bit more. Oh, let me pick this up real quick.
And then you have that tail wag thing that just attracts the bears.
There you go. Yeah, and that's a natural thing. I don't even know if he knows he does that. Next term is pet. I got 3% pet. I think that fits based on what I mentioned about walruses and bulls and shit like that. I think from that aspect it matches. Would you get, Parker?
100%, which is, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
I got 75%. Like I said before, I'm there, but I'm still on my way to figuring out what it all means with myself.
Yeah. Thor?
100%.
Gotcha. 100% pet. Masochist is the next term. I got 1%. A masochist is someone who enjoys receiving pain. What'd you get, Parker?
I got 94%.
Oh. You didn't matches.
I like my pain.
Did you?
I got 61%. Went to the first dungeon recently, so it was a new experience and really trying to experience like the classical forms of punishment. And I think I actually liked it.
Well, good. We'll need to go back again then. With all of us. Thor?
93%.
How much?
93.
Great.
Yeah. I think that fits. Next term is slave. I got 1%. I don't know why. Parker, would you?
I'm actually surprised how high this is, 100%.
I'm not. I know that you have that in there. It's part of what we said about you needing to be reminded sometimes. But Fincher?
So I got 39%. I would agree with that because as submissive as I am, I don't like giving up total control.
Thor?
I had got 100%, and I don't really agree with it because there's some things about the mentality of a slave that doesn't really click with me because I like my paycheck, you know what I'm saying? I like my money staying in my bank, you know what I'm saying? But I help out, but gotta have it. So it goes in line with, depends on who I am. Like with you, sir, it's a different story because I feel like I can give 100% of myself to you versus some random dom out there. Like I want to play with like this is as much as I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna give you 10% of this. Like we'll not go farther than this. So it depends on the person I'm with. If it was with you, yes, I'll give 100%, and so on. So it just depends on the person for me.
I like that answer. I like being in the exclusive club of who Thor will submit 100% to. I like that. Rope bunny. So this was the opposite of the rigger. This was the one that pairs with the rigger side of things. But a rope bunny likes to be tied up and restrained using rope and or other attributes, chains, cuffs, spreader bars, etc., whether for sexual dominance or a sexual enhancement, for art or just for fun, like the shibari stuff was for the art. They enjoy being totally at the mercy of their partners. And like I said, they pair with riggers. For rope buddy, I got 0%. Parker, what did you get?
I got 100%.
Venture?
So I got 95%, and this is probably tied more into like the prospect of wanting to be tied up. I've had a few experiences with like rope and chain, but I haven't really gotten to experience as much as I like to. And I can say that one of my earliest memories that I can recall is watching Dick Tracy from the 90s, and there's a scene where he gets tied up, he's knocked out, and he wakes up and he's tied up to a chair. And I just remember watching that, thinking like, I want to be that person.
All right. I'm very happy. Thor, where'd you get on that?
100%.
100%. Agree with it.
Yes. Especially after watching James Bond and then seeing different ways you can get tied up. So James Bond's when he's tied up to the newest one, when he's tied up to the chair and like facing CBT. Like, dude, it's like you would be known the person that scratched my ball. So yeah.
See, that's got masochist and rope bunny in it. So
Since we're on the topic of movies that influenced us on our kink, I would have to bring up Hellraiser 3, I think it was, where there's a BDSM scene with I forget what the guy Pinhead is.
That kind of got me. Did you have a movie like that for you, Parker?
I'll have to think about that one.
Okay.
I know there probably is, but I can't think of one else.
No worries. It was just a tangent since a few of us named movies. I thought we'd go there. All right. So the next term, degrade E. And that goes, that paired with the degrader. Degrade E is like to be degraded and humiliated by their play partners, either by being acted upon in a degrading way or being forced to do things they consider degrading. I got 0%. Parker, would you get it?
I got 100%.
Venture,
23%.
do you agree?
Yeah, because I still like that like loving nature when I am submitting. I don't like having myself just completely like humiliated.
And Thor?
100%.
100%? Got you. The last two. So, submissive. And I think we all know what a sub is. But let's see if we have a specific thing. Submissive. We're defining it as dominant is an umbrella generic. Oh, you didn't put the submissive term in there.
Yeah, I was doing the same thing. Submissive is an umbrella term. It says dominant in there.
Submissive is an umbrella generic term for a person who gives up authority in a power exchange relationship. Yeah, I agree with that. I got 0%. Parker, what'd you get?
100%.
Venture.
For submissive, I got 80%.
Yeah, do you agree with that?
Yeah, because my dominant nature, as demonstrated by the 1%, only comes out every like blue moon. Stars after the line.
Okay, and Thor?
I had got 90%. That other 10% is like, look, yeah. The other side, yeah.
Last term of the quiz is switch. And let me see if we define that here. And then switch, that's the quiz defines switch. Switches like to, switch. Always taking a dominant or top position is not for them. Neither is always taking a submissive or bottom position. Some prefer to switch with the same partner or partners. Others have a dominant play partner and a submissive play partner. But in either case, they do not fit on one endpoint of the spectrum. Switches typically match well with other switches. So for switch, I got 0%. True for me. Parker, what you get?
I wish mine was higher, but mine was 1%.
Really?
Yeah.
And Venture?
Mine was 25%. So apparently, a quarter of the time, I do like to experience it.
Okay. And Thor?
Thor?
Hi, my name is Cortez Daniel. I like to admit that I'm a switch. Yeah. So it falls around with me. I started to learn. It used to be a couple years ago where I would just be, I'm just submissive. That's all I want to be. so on and so forth. But I started to learn as I went through my journey in the community. I like to dominate people too. So yeah, people can't believe that a short person like me can dominate somebody until like, oh shit, oh, okay. Like now I'm like, yeah, that's right, bitch. Yeah.
Lots of doms out there who are small in stature, but big in terms of how dom they are. Like, trust me, we know that. That's a thing. It's a thing. Matter of fact, I think it's common, even. I would even say that's kind of common.
All of my doms are smaller than me.
Yeah. All right. So that answers all of the complete questions on the quiz there. So, in the end, I felt like for me, I was not too surprised in most of my results, but there are a few in there that I disagreed with. I'd like to see this test sort of like redone in a way to where, or like I'd like to be able to take this type of test in such a way where I can answer the questions in a nuanced way, and I think get slightly more accurate results for me. Because when I'm saying slightly disagree or moderately disagree or with some of these answers, I think it's falsely identifying me in the wrong way because of those choices. But there's reasons why I'm answering that in that way. But what do you guys think about it?
Yeah, I think it pretty much. I think it pretty much captured me the way I am.
Okay.
Only a couple of them were surprising.
How about you, Thor?
I thought it fit me perfectly because, like, I always thought I always had two sides of me. So I have the sinister side, and then I have my, I'm gonna fuck shit up side. So I thought it fit me perfectly.
And Venture, what about you?
Yeah, I'd agree with it more or less. I do wish, as long as the test already is, I do kind of wish there were more questions to kind of flesh out each category, so that way it's not like pigeonholing you into something just because of the way you answered one particular question.
Yeah, I think we should probably see what other types of tests out there like this to see if we can get something that's a little more accurate in terms of like Venture was just saying, that give you a chance to be a little more specific on each area. But nonetheless, I still enjoy it. And like if you're in the BDSM community, you've nonetheless seen lots of people with these answers on their profile somewhere. So, it's a thing.
Mine's on my recon profile.
Yeah, I've had mine on there before. I don't know if it's on there right now. But yeah, for sure it's been on there. So anyway, that was just a little fun. I thought we would have to get together and shelter while we're sheltered in on this coronavirus bullshit that we all have to deal with, and just see if we could do something. And it's in tune with what our channel is about. It's another opportunity to learn about BDSM and poly and kink, and do it in a way that's fun, but also gives you a chance to evaluate yourself or just to rethink about these things. I think from time to time, as you exist within this community, you have to come back to these types of questions and ask yourself these things again, because you'll find that you've shifted somewhere. So that's cool. And from that sense, I enjoyed it. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this video. Any last words that you guys want to say to our YouTube audience before we go? Parker, you got something?
Stay safe and stay at home.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Venture, do you have any last words to our YouTube audience you want to say?
I don't know.
Nah. And Thor, what about you?
Don't drink and drive.
And I'll end this off with saying, if you want to follow us on social media, please go ahead and do that. We're at MacCastMedia on Twitter and Instagram and on Facebook. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll continue to put out content in the pace that fits us. So we're just going to do it as we can. So go ahead and subscribe so you can follow that. And be sure to leave some comments in there, especially if you've ever taken this test. What were your results? Talk to us about how you feel about that. We'd like to hear from you guys about what this test was like for you. All right, and so with that, we're going to sign out. Peace out, YouTube. And Pack, I'll also be signing off on the chat for now. So that means Thor will talk to you a little bit. Actually, tomorrow I'll be hitting you up for one-on-one. All right, so with that, we're out. And talk to y'all later.